All righty, folks, this is a great guest that we have this time, and this is maybe the first time you've heard this gentleman talk. You'll see why I say that. The gentleman's name is John Voldstad. Welcome, John, to my program.
Thank you, John.
Well, how's everything going with you?
Pleasure to be fine. How's everything with you today?
Everything's good. Well, let's first of all, before we go deeper into where everything that you've done and everything, obviously you are one of the Darryls from the two brothers Darryl that is brother to Larry, right? And you know what show everybody everybody knows, right?
Hey. The salute, you know.
The show is Newhart, and this is one of the Darryls from again brothers Darryls and also Larry. And again, good to have you here on the program. We'll talk about Bob Newhart and Newhart, everything like that, and your life, what you've done here in just a moment. But let's start off with, you were 8 years old, I hear, and that's when your first acting gig happened, right?
Yeah, well, around the house, yeah.
Okay.
Jump up and around. I would jump up and down on furniture, and and I would be Errol Flynn.
Okay.
And then I would put on Ricky Nelson records or Sinatra records, and hide behind the curtain, and then open the curtain, and I'd have my own little stage presentation for myself.
And I mean, you grew up in a couple of states. I guess Minnesota was one, and then I guess Texas.
Correct. Minnesota, Texas.
California.
Also Brooklyn, New York. Brooklyn Heights.
All righty. So how did you get into acting?
I was just always wanted to. It was just part of me, I guess, when I was little. Something I wanted to do. I loved watching TV, and I think Mom kind of recognized my enjoyment of that and wanting to do it. And that's why we gradually moved to California.
So again, one of your big roles obviously was Darryl, one of the two brothers Darryl, along with Larry, and
Right.
on the Bob Newhart Show. So how did you end up with that part?
Right. Yes, that's correct, sir.
How did you end up with that part?
How did I end? Well, I auditioned. The gentleman knew me. The casting director knew me from theater in Los Angeles, and a guy named Gene, and he'd cast me and he'd cast Tony in the theater at the Music Center, and so he knew that we could, Tony and I could both stand still and look like we were actually thinking.
And during that whole 8 year, run, you didn't say not one word during that 8 year run, right?
Yeah, no, not till the last show. That's right.
I'm trying to remember. I think
Wives from Long Island to be quiet.
Now I remember. Yes. So yeah. So my goodness, it's like indeed. I mean, go through most of that time period again in that fashion. And again, you cross paths with a lot of folks, obviously on that show. One of which is obviously Bob Newhart. And any stories about Bob?
Quite so. I mean, worked with him for 8 years and known him like 40 years after that. And would call him on his birthday and call and see how everybody was doing in the Newhart family.
And I mean, obviously he passed here just a little while back and everything. So do you still keep in touch with anybody in his family?
Yeah.
Cool. So, and then there's obviously also Mary Fran, who passed a while back.
She passed away first.
Yeah.
Sadly.
And Mary Fran, I mean, any stories?
Pardon me?
Any stories about Mary Fran?
She was a lovely lady, and we had a lot of fun. We had sometimes during lunch we would have exercise time.
Okay.
So that was fun.
Exercise time, and then there's Tom Poston, and a legendary actor. Any stories from him?
It was not Joker, real Joker.
Okay.
Enough, yeah.
I mean, that's no surprise, because knowing that from Tom Poston, from all his antics that he's done on other shows. So he kept you all laughing, I guess? I guess he kept you all laughing, Tom Poston. You say he was a joker?
Well, Bob did too, yeah.
Bob did too, sure. I mean,
and we're funny together, yeah.
I mean, did Bob ever? I mean, when you guys were there, did he ever just do maybe a little bit of his comedy act with you all while he was there, or was he pretty much reserved?
He did his sketches, his comedy routines before the audience.
Okay.
Before we did each show, we did 2 shows on Friday, so we taped 2 shows on Friday, and then he would come out and he'd do one of his routines.
I mean, and again, I'm pretty sure the audience just
submarine
loved.
commander, he would do that, or the driving instructor.
Uh-huh. Wow, wow! Just to sit there, I mean, I just to sit there and watch Bob do this. I mean, each and every week. I mean, you know, for I guess for the audiences and you all.
It was like amazing. I mean, Bob is an icon.
Yeah,
Not
definitely,
anybody like him.
definitely so. And I mean, you were lucky enough to be there for 8 years with the TV show. I mean, and again, even though you didn't say much, again, like I said, until the last episode, which I recalled, but were there anything ever wacky happened, or was it just pretty much a normal day of work there?
Kind of wacky.
Yeah, anything out of the norm ever happened, or it was just a normal?
Sometimes if you know, sometimes they would forget lines when we were doing the show, and so
Sure.
we didn't have to worry about forgetting lines or anything like that.
Did you ever accidentally say something and they had to block it out? No, that's good. And
we're pretty good. Tony and I were, you know, stage actors and stuff, and we're pretty good at following directions. And sometimes we would come up with our own ideas. And Tony always said we spoke, you know, like volumes with eloquent shrugs,
facial expressions and stuff like that, right? Yeah. I mean, because that was just, you know, it was just great comedy, just watching. And then Bob, and obviously Bob's reaction to you all when Larry would say, "Here's Daryl and here's Daryl," and you guys would do something like that with, you know, just very comedic stuff.
Oh, it was great stuff. Yeah, it was great. We had the audience loved it too.
Oh, sure, definitely. And you still keep, and you said you still go to Comic Cons at times, right?
I don't do any Comic Cons. I did some in LA. They were Comic Cons. They were like celebrity autograph signings.
Okay. Celebrity
we used to do those in LA. I haven't done any around here, except I did the one in Memphis. That was the Western Festival where I met Tony.
Okay. All right, and that being Tony Paz.
That was because I was in The Blue and the Gray.
Okay.
It was a mini-series about the Civil War.
Just mentioning that would be Tony Paz, who's a gentleman from Amory that basically introduced me to you and said, "Hey, you know, I know John Voldstad," and I go, "Wow!" Yeah. And here we are, right here, talking on the show here. And
here we are.
And beyond obviously Newhart, you did a couple other things like the McLean Stevenson show.
Yeah, that was yeah. I played a Hare Krishna kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was in Stripes with Bill Murray.
Yes, Stripes.
I was in John Larroquette's corporal, running around behind him.
I do recall.
And,
yes.
The famous line, "Grenade."
And how was it? How was it on that film set? Was it?
I exited with holding a grenade. John Larroquette gave me. And actually, it's also Harold Ramis. You hear him say "Grenade" as we run out.
And how was it on that set, being there with Bill
great.
Murray and everybody?
I've never had any really bad experiences.
Cool. I mean, that was.
I enjoyed it. You know, people. You know.
And that's an iconic film right there. I mean, that's after 40 years, it's still very, very popular today with a lot of folks.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that a
I
fact?
worked with Steven Spielberg as well.
I was going to say that. Is that a fact, Jack? Right from the movie,
Yeah, right, exactly.
from the movie Stripes. So, what did you say about Steven?
Fact check, yeah.
What did you say about Steven Spielberg?
There she was, just walking down the street.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You said something about Steven Spielberg, and I kind of interrupted you. What was that you said about Steven?
I was in a film called 1941.
Oh, yes.
Directed.
With John Belushi, correct?
Yeah. But it was a small part, but it was fun to do.
And then I also know that you were on Chico and the Man.
I did. That was the beginning of my Hal Cantor, wonderful gentleman who was my mentor, kind of, and gave me the work. He was like a major producer and writer on a bunch of TV shows. He created Julia, if you remember, with the series Julia.
Oh yes, the one back in the late '60s, early '70s.
And he also produced. Chico and the Man, along with James Comack. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Hal Cantor.
He was a ghostwriter for the Oscars as well.
Alrighty, and let me ask you on Charlie's Angels. I mean, you were on that, Charlie's Angels, correct?
Right, Charlie. Yeah, I played a Polish photographer named Stasiu Woznowski.
Okay, so you got around.
I spoke Polish.
Did you have to learn any Polish during that time period?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Głupie amerykańskie zobaczenie.
And
stupid American girl.
I was trying to pick that up. I know a little bit of Croatian growing up, but I was trying to pick up the
Yeah.
Polish there. Okay, so cool. And also another show that you were on was Chips.
Yes, right. Yeah, it was a fast food like a McDonald's, and I was the guy at the counter at the drive-up counter, and Don Stroud was the bad guy coming to rob us, and he pulls me through the window.
I mean, and Don Stroud, a very good character actor for many years.
He was what?
I said Don Stroud, a very good character actor for many years.
Oh, very good character actor, excellent. And Buddy Holly and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sure. Now, I mean, speaking of character actor, obviously you're a character actor. I mean, you had a long-running series there on Newhart doing a character. But any advice for folks? Would you rather gone through life being a character actor, or would you rather have been the main star? I mean, when you look at it.
No, I love being a character actor because people always remember, specific characters and stuff, and it's great to make a difference with a character, and so that's.
I would say.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, in character. I mean, and when did you realize first when you were on the Bob Newhart Show? The Newhart. When did you first realize that? Wow, this is something of an earth-shattering role.
I had no idea really. When I went to the audition, I had a manager at the time named Bo, and he said he just had a feeling that this was going to be a major thing, and so he said it could, possibly lead into other things. So when I went in to read, like I said, I knew the casting director, Gene Blythen, and he knew Tony and I both from the theater, from the Music Center, because we both done productions there, and basically they cast us.
Well, cool. So
right there.
So now you did Hollywood for a long time. I mean, and what, you just decided to just one day just say, okay, that's it, enough, or Hollywood, or did?
No. What happened was the show Newhart ended, and Tony was doing a production called Deer Camp, the musical, out of Minnesota.
Okay.
And they thought it'd be cool to add me to the cast.
All right.
As well. So we toured for a couple of years on and off, doing Deer Camp the musical, and we had moved to California, from California to Alabama for a while.
Okay.
And then we were performing in High Point, South Carolina at one point, and my friend was the historian at the NASCAR at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and Buzz McKim, and I was looking for something else to do, and went there and went to work there.
So you are now working at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, I guess, and you have always, like you just told me today, I mean, every day, I guess, you get some fans that come in there and say, hey, wow.
They do, yeah.
It's
Daryl. My friends there kind of introduce me when they're doing a tour and say, hey, this is the other brother Daryl, and remember him?
So now all of the folks that are watching here, they have got to do like a day trip and go over into Charlotte and see you at the NASCAR
That would be
Hall of
great.
Fame.
Yeah, have them do a day trip to the Hall of Fame, and I'll show them how to use the Pit Crew Challenge and qualifying the simulator, etc. We can show them how to do all that. But it's a great place. It's a great museum with great stuff to look at and see and stuff, and it's got so much more than you would think. We have like a total of 4 floors.
Okay, cool. And have you ever crossed paths?
On each floor. And the interactive stuff is on the 3rd floor. And we have a great education program for kids who come. And
hey, there you go. There you go. And have you ever crossed paths with any of the NASCAR folks there?
No, I have. I met Kyle Petty briefly, and Bobby Allison.
Cool.
So those are great guys to meet.
And out of all of your career, I mean, when you're going and meeting obviously the NASCAR folks or going back to Hollywood, have you ever crossed paths with anybody and said, wow, this is so cool that you met this person?
Yes. When I was doing a miniseries called The Blue and the Gray, based on the Civil War, Gregory Peck was playing Lincoln.
Oh, wow. Hey.
So I was, one day we were shooting, and I was in the elevator with him and his family, and he signed a newspaper I had.
Wow.
Stacy Keach was in that as well. I knew Stacy Keach as well. And Julia was also in The Blue and the Gray.
Wow. Wow, I mean that's always.
And
so
War
cool.
Notes, it was great because I was the second time I worked with War Notes after Stripes.
Sure, yeah, from Stripes and the okay, so you cross paths with War Notes, and was he looked like he was when you watched, he looked like he was serious, but he looked like comedic. Was he in real life? Was he? How was he?
He was a funny guy.
Funny guy.
He was He would sit down. We'd sit down in the restaurant, or the hotel, or whatever, just start laughing and make the rifle scene, the choreographed scene. That turned out really
cool,
great.
Cool,
And,
very cool. I mean,
when we went searching for them, and we were lost in supposedly Russia, that was all. And the sets for that were the Jim Beam Distillery was the Russian camp that they kept us prisoner, quote unquote, and otherwise we shot like in India in around the area, Fort Knox. We shot at Fort Knox in Kentucky, and
I was going to ask you, was there any Jim Beam handed out to everybody?
It actually was.
Oh, there was. Okay,
it was. Yeah.
So and that made them. I guess that made it all much more relaxed, because that movie is just very funny, and it looks like everybody's just really relaxed, and maybe you had a little bit of enjoyment there with the Jim Beam.
Well, I'm sure we did in our rooms, maybe, probably. I never saw too many drunken moments with any of us.
Oh no! I mean, I'm just jokingly saying, but
I know.
Because that movie just when from the whole.
It was just a great fun group to work with and stuff.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, when we were first there, in the hotel room, Bill Murray would show movies and invite people down to his room to watch movies.
Cool. So basically, I mean, what does your future hold for you? I mean, are you still thinking about doing any kind of acting in Hollywood? Or
yeah, if whatever acting comes along, I've done a few short films.
Okay.
Locally here, and they haven't gone anywhere except one little short film. It's hit some festivals and stuff, and but I'm still doing stuff. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Sure. Okay. Sounds good.
Well, John, it's been a pleasure to have you here talking
Same
to
here,
us.
John. Thanks for talking to me. Anything else you wanted to ask?
Oh, I'm open for whatever you wanted. If there's any stories.
No. I started acting at Casa Manana in Texas.
Okay.
When I was 14. That's when that's when when I saw Ruta Lee, and I was like my very first production was in Music Man at the Casa Manana Theater.
Okay.
As one of the boys in Harold Hill's, orchestra, kid orchestra. Remember, he had played the trombones with the kids, and that was the premise of the musical.
That was right after when I asked about you were talking about the Errol Flynn days, and then the transition.
That was like my first foray into
acting,
taking courses in acting and stuff.
Sure. I mean,
it was a great program at Casa Manana Theater, and then I also did some children's theater in Los Angeles, and all the way through high school, doing drama festivals and.
Well, I mean, any advice? I mean, as long as we're here talking, any advice for any of the younger actors and actresses out there? What can one do? Because this world is totally different now with Netflix.
Well, just make sure it is. It's different. Yeah.
Netflix is out there and YouTube
make sure
is out
you
there.
have the passion to be an actor, because it's a hard, long road, and it's not always. You may not always end up doing the roles you want or the parts you want, but you should always pursue it, and you should do theater and improv as well. Take improv classes, do theater, do local theater if you can.
I mean, there you go. That's again great advice. What do you think of this modern day now? I mean, in the world of Netflix compared to back in the old days, you had only ABC.
Well, it certainly has offered a lot of work to more people, which is great. The world is a lot more diverse, and actors are from all around the world. You find your great actors.
Yes, indeed, you do. I mean, it's just and I
think it's great. It makes it hard. It's more difficult getting a job. But the better the actors are that you're performing with, the better you are.
I mean, and like you said, for 8 years, I mean, barely doing, I mean, you didn't do any voice work, but you did, I mean, have you ever done any voice work by any chance, but, I mean, like, let's say in cartoons, or you never went there?
No, I'd love to. I'd love to do that. That's why my son's doing that. He's working on doing voiceovers and commercials and stuff.
Yeah, because I've heard
it's a hard kind of, not to crack, it's a
that's
very
what I've heard.
singular and...
I'm sorry.
But once you crack it, it's a great job doing voiceovers.
Sure, sure, and that'd be interesting that you didn't talk for almost 8 years on a show, and then you would be doing voiceovers. That would be something else.
Yeah. I've done a few voiceover stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
But not a lot.
But you did also you worked at a radio station, didn't you, there for a while?
And I studied acting in London for 3 years.
Oh, London. See,
2.5 years.
See, there you go. I did not know that.
After high school, I went to London, went to the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I also worked in the theater in London as a stagehand.
Okay, cool.
On some major musicals like Fiddler on the Roof and the Canterbury Tales in the West End, in London, in the West End.
I see that there's more of the career. You see, basically, I mean, also, didn't you say when you were in Alabama, did you not work at a radio station there at one time?
I did. I worked at WQSB, Alabama's country giant.
All right.
Yes. And I had the Saturday evening shift from 6 to midnight. It was great, and I did that for a couple months until we went back on the road with Deer Camp, the musical.
Okay.
And as I ended the show that night, I put on Patsy Cline's "Walking After Midnight."
Oh, okay. There you go.
My son said it sounded like it was just like the ending of a movie, you know.
Like, and playing it right, I said late night and everything, and that kind of fit in together with that.
Right.
So what a career! I mean, from all the character acting, from all the movies and TV shows, and obviously the Newhart. I mean, you've had a pretty good career.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I had a friend of mine, Charlie Martin Smith, who you'd know from American Graffiti.
Okay.
He became a director as well, and I had these really cool snakeskin cowboy boots that I wore in his film Boris and Natasha, and they just wanted the cowboy boots in the film, which was great. It was it was funny because it's supposedly the killer is the guy who was walking around in snakeskin boots.
Way to pick out the killer, right?
Yeah, and so that was a lot of fun, and I've had a great life. I've really enjoyed myself,
and hopefully.
My son's working on it now. He's very talented. He's a wonderful artist as well.
Cool.
And Tony can tell you that as well.
Sure. And I mean, and hopefully many more years of good acting and more years.
I do plan to do a lot more if it comes up.
And again, many more years at the NASCAR museum, and then we'll have the folks again, our viewers, certainly if they can do a day trip, they can come out there and see you in Charlotte.
Yeah, have them come by and mention your name and say hi. I can't get any discounts, but I mean, I can certainly say hi and show them a good time. We can all show.
Most likely.
All the people there who work there are great and enjoy entertaining people and showing people how to use the equipment and stuff.
There you go. I mean, that would be great stuff and everything. And again,
we have a great tour as well. There's a great NASCAR tour.
Alrighty. Well, again, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show here, and many more years of great luck to you, okay?
Well, great. That was fun, John. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you, sir.